This is episode 14 of the Gen Y Leaders podcast.
And talent's a really key word because we don't hire people based on talent.
Yeah.
We hire people based on character.
That's awesome.
We hire people based on the fact that they want to serve others, the fact that they want to serve something bigger than themselves, the fact that they want to come in and work hard for the people that walk in the door.
Hey everyone, this is Eric Huey, host of the Gen Y Leaders podcast, where we interview and learn from millennials who are leaders in their fields. These are individuals who have started their own businesses, have a high-ranking title within companies, or are simply pursuing non-traditional means, such as their passion or hobby, to support themselves and their families. There still exists this negative stigma around our generation that we are entitled, lazy, and unreliable. So my goal is to prove that wrong, while also inspiring millennials to become the best versions of themselves and go after their big goals. Hey everyone, I hope your day is going well. Thanks for joining us for episode 14 of the Gen Y Leaders podcast. We have a very inspiring story for you today with Andrew Potter, who is a former Army Ranger captain turned entrepreneur. Although Andrew moved up the military ranks, he knew he didn't want to be in the Army forever and left to pursue his dream of opening a rock climbing gym in Kansas City. Nearly foregoing his dream because of lack of funding, Andrew finally landed 2 business loans just in the nick of time to open his first gym. Fast forward 4 years, and he's now opening his 3rd rock climbing gym in Kansas City called RoKC. A true entrepreneur, Andrew recognized another market need for rock climbing gyms in the area of customer relationship management and billing, and thus developed a software called Approach. In this interview, we discuss both of his companies, and again, it's very inspiring, and I know there'll be a lot of key takeaways for you guys. So, as always, thanks for listening. Here's my interview with Andrew Potter. Mr. Andrew Potter, welcome to the Gen Y Leaders podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Appreciate your time, man. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Usually just to start off, it's a basic question of who you are and what you do.
I guess other than being a father to a 2.5-year-old and a 17-week-old and a husband to a wonderful wife, I guess I'm an entrepreneur is the term. So I have a couple of businesses that occupy my time.
Yeah, I'd say so. And you're a fellow UCM grad, correct?
Yep, I graduated in 2009. I was go Mules.
That's right, go Mules. You ventured back to Warrensburg often?
I haven't been back much. I actually went and I ran a leadership class for the baseball team.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I had gone back. My brother-in-law is now the coach, the baseball coach at Emporia State, and they went and played UCM.
Is that Brett or?
No, Seth. So
that's your brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Dude, wow.
So, right?
That's crazy.
So they both played at UCM.
Right.
And then so I've been back to watch games that he coached and saw the team and stuff. And then, my father-in-law was distinguished alumni. My other brother-in-law is a producer now in LA, but he was, he went to UCM, so our families are just intertwined.
Right.
So every once in a while we make it back for something.
So is your father-in-law Mitch Wheeler then?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is unreal.
Blowing your mind.
Yeah,
oh my
because my dad and Mitch were fraternity brothers at UCM back in the day. So
Sig Eps.
I've known Mitch, for a few years now. I've been to UCM events where I've talked to him and just shot the breeze with my dad and him. And then
it's such a small world.
It really is. And then there's what's his first son's name?
Jeremy
yes.
Wheeler.
So Jeremy Wheeler was a Young Life leader when I was in high school. So I knew Jeremy really well too. So it's to hear you say that, I was like,
how did we not put this together before? It's awesome.
I know. And then I saw the Warriors Ascent thing on your profile too. So I think something had kind of clicked then when I read that. I should ask him if he knows Mitch, because wouldn't Mitch?
Yeah, so
involved in that somehow?
In some way we branched off. So I actually start Warriors Ascent here,
okay.
And then there's another program that's grown out of that called Battle Within, which is a lot of the original people that started Warriors Ascent and some other people. And Mitch is actually the director of development of that now.
Okay.
And I still support that.
Right.
Both are great programs, and but I'm focused on helping the battle within now.
Okay.
But it's basically a program that serves veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress.
Okay.
And we can get in that, but we don't have to. That's what Mitch is doing now.
Maybe on another episode I'll have you back on to talk about.
Yeah, that's like another episode on itself,
For sure. But yeah, we do appreciate your service to this great country, man. That's
especially today, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. I was thinking that. I was like, man, this is so ironic that
this is the thing that sent me to war today.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy to think about. It's usually a tough day for me.
Yeah.
Just getting through it. So
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Eric. Sorry for the quick interruption. I just wanted to guide this part of the conversation a little bit since it wasn't fully disclosed while Andrew and I were talking. So the day we recorded this interview was September 11th, of course, the anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the U.S., and that's what Andrew's referring to when he says that's what sent him to war. So again, just want to make sure that was clear for you guys. Andrew, we thank you so much for your service and really appreciate everything you've done to protect our freedoms. So we'll continue with the interview now. Thanks.
Glad to be doing something here that's uplifting and hopefully serves some of the people that are listening to it.
It definitely will. So on that note, second question is, what's your why? What keeps you motivated? Why do you do what you do?
I do really enjoy serving others. I really enjoy building teams. I really enjoy working with people that are maybe on a similar path that I was, and maybe giving them my mistakes or nudging them along or giving them encouragement. So where maybe I didn't get it or I did get it, and it's what helped me. And so giving back to the people around me and finding a way to leverage what I have for something bigger is easily what is most important to me each day. So
thanks for sharing that. It's awesome. So if you could, for the listeners, just kind of briefly walk us through the Reader's Digest version, so to speak, of your career from exiting college to your time in the military to all these businesses that you're running now.
I graduated from UCM in 2009, commissioned as a second lieutenant and infantry officer, and then went straight into the Army. Actually started at Fort Lewis in Washington State, and I was there for a summer, training cadets who were still in college. Then I went straight to Fort Benning, Georgia for infantry officer basic. I went through airborne school, ranger school, all that kind of stuff. After graduating those courses, I went up to be a scout sniper platoon leader in the 82nd Airborne up in North Carolina, where I deployed to Afghanistan in 2012. Came back, immediately went to selection to be in the Rangers.
And that's kind of like the elite of the elite, right?
To an extent. There are definitely some elite organizations within the Special Operations Command and within the military community in general. Mm-hmm. And the Rangers are absolutely one of the top tier units in the United States military. And so I went there, I got selected, I made captain while I was in selection.
Yeah, congrats.
And then, yeah, thank you. And then shortly after, deployed to Afghanistan again in 2013. Came back from that tour and got back to work, training, whatnot, this, that, and then from there kind of realized that I didn't want to stay in the military forever, and I wanted to find an exit from what I was doing. And so I had already started looking into the dream of building a climbing gym and fitness business.
Okay.
And so started building my kind of business plan and doing that stuff while I was overseas. And home in my free time. Yeah. And then in 2014, I got deployed again. So I went to Afghanistan in 2014 and came back and then started the process of exiting the military, or ETS, end of time of service. And then I got out of the Army early, 2015, and then went straight into kind of, raising money and trying to get a loan for my first business, an SBA loan specifically. And I burned through my savings, was unemployed, and like living a very ramen noodle lifestyle, trying to get this business off the ground. And then when I was about at the end of the rope, I ended up getting two offers for a loan, and then approved for a loan. And the next thing I knew, I was going to build the first location for RoKC, which is my climbing gym and fitness company. And So we built the first location, opened it in April of 2016, and then, in, I want to say, April of 2018, we were opening the second location, and now we're looking at being 90 days away from opening the third location.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats on the growth.
Yeah, in Olathe, Kansas, here in the kind of the end of the summer, early fall.
Very cool. So you have one in the Northland, and that's a traditional climbing gym. The one in downtown is more of just a bouldering gym.
Yep, just bouldering.
And then the Olathe location will be full climbing gym as well?
Yep, full climbing gym. And then the one in the Olathe, a little different from the perspective that our fitness offering's much larger. We do have a full coffee shop and bar going in there. Cool. And then Moose Jaw Mountaineering, which is a big online retailer, but they have a location on the plaza. They signed a lease with us as well. So
that's awesome.
My brother and I are also the developers on the project. So we own the land, we own the building.
Wow.
And then we lease that space to those tenants who have come in and are also just like great partners as well,
Yeah.
But that's sort of the business model down there, and we just have such a larger fitness offering down there as well, which helps to produce supplementary revenue to the just climbing business.
Of course. Do you anticipate that being climbing specific exercise opportunity / training, or is that just kind of a gym that anyone could go to who's maybe not even interested in climbing and just wants to work out or hit the treadmill or whatever?
Yeah, no, it's going to be like just a legit gym.
Cool.
And yes, there will be stuff there that could supplement your climbing and whatnot, but that's not really the focus.
Cool.
The focus is just to be a great gym and then have great like youth programs and childcare that you can drop your kids off to camp and go do a good workout or grab a beer or coffee in our coffee shop or go climb with friends.
Yeah.
And so it's really just to change the model to make it so that your climbing gym, you don't have to have like a membership to another gym as well. Like this could essentially be your third place.
Perfect.
Like you spend your day there. So
that's awesome, man. Good for you guys. I'm excited for you. I feel like every time we talk, you're like, oh yeah, we're doing this too, and oh yeah, that. I'm just like, man, get me pumped up. So what's the connection with the real estate? So is it you or your brother has like a real estate license, or how do you go about it?
No, we just typically these projects are fairly expensive,
Sure.
And what we also found is, in many ways, if you're willing to play the long game, like the real estate is where the real money's at, from the perspective of you keep this property and you have it paid off in 10 years, and you have this amazing asset that you can either leverage to grow your business, to leverage it on a loan, or we could sell the property and keep the businesses if we needed the cash to expand the actual fitness and climbing business. But the real estate's such an amazing play if you can make it happen. The problem is it can be expensive. We were fortunate enough to be in a position where we could make it happen, and so we've got a real estate broker that helps us with all that stuff. But owning the land and the building has been a game changer for us. It really gives us the flexibility to do what we want with the property.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome, man. Very exciting for sure. So I guess, what was the process of starting RoKC? I mean, I know you're a passionate climber, so was it your passion regardless if there was definitely a market need in Kansas City for a good climbing gym, but do you feel like even if there was 10 climbing gyms in Kansas City, would you have started one anyways?
And there are other good climbing gyms in Kansas City, absolutely. And maybe there was a market need in our area. I saw a different need for the community. But Kansas City, I don't think could handle 10 gyms per se.
Yeah.
So in a different market, like absolutely. I wanted to make good business decisions, but climbing really saved my life. Like being a guy that suffered from post-traumatic stress, coming back from overseas and seeing a lot of destruction and growing through that. The one thing that like really helped me and served me was being in the mountains.
Yeah.
And climbing brought me to the mountains. Like climbing brought me outside. Climbing brought me into the forest.
Sure.
And that's what really like helped me heal in many ways.
That's awesome.
So climbing just became a tool. And for me, it was almost like, you know what? if I can give to other people what climbing gave to me, then this would be all worth it. Like, it doesn't have to be like the greatest climbing gym in the world. It doesn't have to freaking be a Fortune 500 climbing gym, But if I can just build a business that serves my family, we can survive on it, and it serves people in the way I was served, then that was like the minimum need. And obviously you don't like start a business and you're like, oh, this is gonna suck, let's go for it. So I did my due diligence and found that like it was a viable potential business, and I was willing to go for it. And so I mean, maybe it wouldn't have been Kansas City, but I do believe I might have found somewhere else just to start a gym if there were 10 here.
Right.
But I thought the market was primed for it, and for me, it was a combination of passion, but also wanting to like in some ways control my own destiny. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love that perspective too, as far as serving others. I think that's probably a good portion, not the only portion, of course, but a portion of what's led to all your success. So now looking back from about to open your third gym to where you started, you talked about that moment where you're almost ready to give up, and you get the two offers or investors to help you launch the business. Did you know it would grow as quickly as it did? I mean, what was your vision? Did you know it'd be 3 gyms?
No, I kind of mentioned before, but my brother's my business partner, and we kind of always imagined that after the 3-year mark or so, we'd be in a position where we'd be looking to maybe build another gym. And we were like stoked on that. Yeah. And the projection showed that was like possible and stuff. And so we had always planned on like, potentially expanding the business and growing it. And no, we didn't think it would like go this quickly.
Yeah.
Or that we would have the ability to build 3 gyms in, less than 4 years.
It's amazing.
But it just happened, and I think in some ways it was natural that it just kept going that way. And so it's definitely blown my expectations out of the water. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been really cool to watch it grow, but not the expectation from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not gonna lie, when I build projections and I build pro forma for a business, I lean more on the conservative side, and I'm a little more cautious about wanting to overstate what I believe we'll do. So
sure. Your brand recognition, RoKC. I mean, what's some of the factors that have contributed to your growth? Do you feel like you have really good marketing? Is it word of mouth of climbers just spreading around Kansas City? I mean, what do you feel like has contributed to that?
I think there's a few factors. I think one of the things is climbing's fairly unique, and somewhat niche, and so it's something that's interesting to do. It's something that people just gravitate towards when they want to try and do something fun.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. I think the other part is we have amazing people on our team. Our staff is awesome, and when I've read studies in the past where like if you give somebody a great experience, they'll go out and tell 3 people, and if like you give someone a terrible experience, they'll try and burn your business to the ground. They're like, that's it.
Yep.
Like no one goes necessarily all the time to just like love the experience they had, or they had a good experience and they just go and type up the most glowing review. But if they had a bad experience, they're like, I'm going to destroy these people.
Yeah.
And so I do believe our staff just does an awesome job giving people a great experience and serving the people that walk in the door. And I believe there's reciprocity in that, but 2, I believe people leave and they're like, man, that was awesome. Those humans were awesome. It's more than just like the climbing experience. It's the atmosphere that the team in there brings, and I think that just helps organically.
Sure.
With people to naturally talk about the fact that, oh, we went to this RoKC place and it was so much fun, and the staff took care of us and that stuff. So I think if there was one thing, it would be the people, and the people behind our front desk, the people on our staff. They're just awesome humans.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
They're the reason that it's where it is.
That's awesome. How do you go about training them? I mean, do you have a training program for them, or do you feel like you just hire good talent from the get-go and kind of let them do their thing?
I do believe we have a good training program, and talent's a really key word, because we don't hire people based on talent.
Yeah.
We hire people based on character.
That's awesome.
We hire people based on the fact that they want to serve others, the fact that they want to serve something bigger than themselves, the fact that they want to come in and work hard for the people that walk in the door, because we can train those people, how to run a point of sale system and run the front desk and and manage risk in our facilities. But if you're not a person that cares about other people, that's really hard to train. Yeah. It's really hard to change you. Mm-hmm. And so we really look at investing in people that are just good humans and then train them to be able to work in our facilities. And so I
love that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's done really well for us as a company.
I'd say so.
Focusing on good people and then putting the time, effort, and money into training them to be great employees.
Right. Yeah, that's a great strategy. So we could talk all day about all the businesses that you've started, but specifically I want to talk about how RoKC segues into Tilefive, which is a software company that you've started, correct?
Yeah, so myself and a friend, Luke Lim, a brilliant architect and software engineer, started Tilefive, and we've built a product called Approach.
Yeah, and this is specifically for climbing gyms, right?
Yeah, that's the first target market, just because we have the ability to get market share. We have a free place to beta and QA the product. We're subject matter experts on the industry. We have great connections throughout the industry. And so that's the target. But as a client relationship management and kind of point of sale system, we have the great ability to move into other markets and pivot into other verticals, so to speak. So in the future, we will be going into things like yoga and CrossFit, yeah, or boot camp style fitness places. And really, our target right now is climbing because it's underserved. Mm-hmm. So.
And what's your main advantage of your software versus the software other climbing gyms might use?
One of our primary advantages is just the fact that we're going up against very legacy softwares. So softwares that are 10 years old or older. Okay. So the technology that we're able to build upon today is just it's newer technology, so it's more advanced, it's faster, it has better data structure, it is easier to integrate with other things, and so there's just technologies that, from a code perspective or a developer perspective, that you didn't have 10 years ago. Right. And so we can build things faster, we can fix things faster. There's a lot of advantages there.
Yeah, kind of at the exponential growth point where you can take off faster from a higher point.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talked about it previously, but do you feel like other software companies almost handcuff themselves once they get their platform off the ground because there's too much cost and time that would go back into revamping and kind of reapplying software to all their customer base?
Yeah, I think some software companies get in a position where they're crushing it. They're doing great, they're very profitable, they have tens of thousands or more clients, and putting $10 million into rebuilding their platform, yeah, and then telling their tens of thousands of clients that they're going to migrate all their data, retrain all their employees, and move them over is just no, we can't do that. And the thing is, when you build software, things break, mm-hmm, and nobody wants to move from their software, which maybe isn't perfect for them, but it works every day, yeah, to a newer software that's now breaking and causing them issues. So you would almost lose more clients, right, attempting to do that, and you'd be paying a lot of money to do it. Right. So it really doesn't make sense,
Sounds like you're taking the right approach then, as far as doing your due diligence up front to make sure you have the best software and technology as possible up front to get the most life out of your product.
Yeah, and part of that is, I would say, maybe due diligence. Part of it is just timing, from the perspective that we're starting now, not 10 years ago. Right. Which also has its disadvantages. Yeah. But we're just fortunate that technology changes really fast, and when we can use the latest things that are out there, we have the opportunity to leverage that and build something great.
Yeah, speaking of technology changing fast, I mean, did you know anything about technology? Did you have any expertise in that when you were starting Tilefive and Approach after rock climbing?
No, absolutely not. I would say even today, my knowledge is extremely limited compared to, like my business partner and the people on our team. Like, these guys are freaking geniuses when it comes to, data structure and writing code and the theory on how they're going to integrate payments into something so that, it doesn't screw something else up in the system. And like, I have no business even talking about it, let alone like,
You and me both, brother.
Yeah.
So
I'm fortunate to have incredible partners that are amazing at that, so I can focus on, the other aspects of the business.
That's great. What are some of those other aspects? Are you mainly doing the business development and getting more investors? Or what kind of stuff?
Yeah, business development. I do a lot of our investor relationship, our customer relationships. I also do a lot of the product development side of things. Mm-hmm. So meeting with gym owners, meeting with even all my employees, and seeing what the need is, mm-hmm. and then seeing what we can and can't develop, and then finding the balance between that. Because some stuff is like, we could build that, but like that's not going to give us a return. It's like a really nice to have, but it's not a need today. And so helping to determine, what's priority to be built now based on what our customers need and like what our developers have time to do.
Yeah, you mentioned a good point as far as need. And so you kind of identified this, market sector need for a climbing gym, but then also that the climbing gyms were underserved as far as good customer software. So how do you go about identifying these market needs? Do you think that's something that you're just naturally gifted with, or is that a skill that you feel like has been learned and crafted over time?
I don't know, man. I think I'm just a little bit lucky.
Yeah.
I think I woke up with a pain point every day that it was software, and it came to a point where it was like, I can either wake up every day for the next 20 years running these businesses and complain about this, or I can do something about it. And then I met Luke, who's my business partner, and he had already had 2 or 3 other people approach him because they were in the same pain point. Wow. And he was like, at first I was like, man, I would invest in something like this. And Luke was like, we should partner on this.
Yeah.
And I was like, like, you realize I'm not like a tech guy, like a software guy, like rock climber, and but it's been a great partnership because we both have very different skill sets that you need in our type of company, and like, I don't get in his way and he doesn't get in mine, and we both crush it and then come high five in the middle.
That's great. Best partnership you can have.
Yeah.
How'd you meet Luke? Was he climbing at your gym? Or
he was a member at my gym.
Really?
And then I was, at the time, I was still working the front desk in our facility.
Yeah.
And, I talked to all the members and stuff, and Luke was like, oh, I'm a software engineer. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, man, I really struggle with like what we use. Can you look at it? And he was like, oh my gosh, you use this to run your business? And I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. And he was like, man, this could easily be like built better. And so the conversation started from there, and then eventually grew into like what now is a company that has a couple clients and is growing organically. So
that's awesome. Very cool story for sure. So you talked a little bit about delegating, especially in the software company, delegating what you're not good at and just focusing on what you are good at. So I guess, what do you think are your most profitable actions on a daily basis? What do you focus on? What is like your profit producing activities, would you say?
Well, when I said like we have great humans in our company, like, I mean, they're the ones that run my businesses,
Yeah.
And I've screwed a lot of things up in my career and careers as a leader, from the Army to opening my first businesses. I've made plenty of my own mistakes, and I think my most profitable action is working with our junior leaders and working with them to help them learn from my mistakes, so that they're in a position where they can lead and they can grow the people under them. And I have this saying about failure, and I believe that if you make mistakes and you learn from it and grow from it, that's not failure. Failure only happens when you make mistakes and then you don't become better. You don't learn from it. And so I do give my team a lot of leeway to screw things up and learn from it and grow from it, and then come work with me and not only challenge them to be better, but ask them how I can be better, have them challenge me to be better. And that right there is what, allows my companies to do what they do without me like micromanaging the daily everything. We just have awesome people, and so I think investing in them is the best thing I can do for everybody I work with.
So on that note, as far as investing in people and passing along knowledge, what are some good books or resources that you feel like have made an impact on you and your entrepreneurial journey?
I think a very stellar book, I think it's Malcolm Gladwell, but I could be wrong, but it's called Multipliers. And the very short, I guess, premise of that book is you kind of have two different types of people or leaders. One are people where you leave the room and you feel like the smartest person in the world because that leader challenged you to be better and challenged you to use your whole brain and helped you like make great decisions. And then you have the leaders who you leave the room and you feel like they're the smartest person in the world and you're an idiot. And multipliers are the ones that are making people better, and crushing it because those people are going out to be like the best leaders in the company. And then diminishers are the ones that they're amazing, they're very talented, but they don't allow people around them to be talented. And that was an extremely good book. I think it was really helpful. And then Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead. She talks a lot about vulnerability and how to lead when it's really hard to do it, and how to lead from not only from your heart, but also like from a place of like making good business decisions that are sometimes hard to do, and put you in a vulnerable position, but that you don't want to be in, but like people will grow with you and respect you for those things. And so that book is also fantastic, super helpful.
Yeah, good to know. Thanks for the recommendations. So to wrap up the show, where can people best get a hold of you for business or general personal advice like rock climbing?
Yeah, if people really want to learn from rock climbing from me, maybe they should find someone better at rock climbing than me. I love it. I'm not claiming to be great at it. But if someone's looking for like a little help or a little motivation or whatever, I can be reached at Andrew at climbkc.com. So Andrew at climbkc.com. Or I do have an Instagram that's very underserved. It's Andrew Emerson P. And if you want to shoot me like a direct message there, I'm typically happy to meet up with someone who's in the same position that I've been in. I feel like if you pay it forward by serving the people that are trying to do the same thing that you've done in the past, only good comes from that. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congrats, Andrew, on all the businesses you've started and all the growth you've had, especially with RoKC. That's awesome. Not much of a climber, but I might have to make it out sometime myself.
Yeah, come on now. Everybody's born to climb. I'm sure you climbed some trees or fences as a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
You can do it.
Right on, man. Well, thanks again. Appreciate all the value you brought to viewers tonight, and look forward to having you back on the show in a few episodes to talk about all your other businesses that you have. That wraps up today's episode. I want to thank you all again for listening. My name is Eric Huey, and my goal is to provide you with inspiring content that helps you do your job better or go after your big goals. I'd appreciate your feedback with a rating or review on whichever platform you found the show. And if you'd like to share your feedback directly, or if you know someone who would be a great guest on the show, feel free to email me directly at genwhyleaders@gmail.com. That's GENWHYLEADERS@gmail.com. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.